Are you confident you understand which clothing is acceptable and unacceptable for cruise travel? Reality shows that increasing numbers of travelers face boarding rejection simply due to prohibited attire choices. Cruise companies are discreetly implementing more stringent clothing standards for 2025. Several of these new regulations are quite unexpected. Travelers face boarding denials right at the departure terminal. Picture this scenario. You financially prepared, organized for months, luggage prepared, documentation in order, then security personnel examine your appearance and declare, "We cannot permit you to board." This isn't related to travel documents or your reservation. It concerns your clothing selection. The most startling aspect is that previously acceptable attire from last year might now destroy your entire trip. These restrictions range from garments prohibited for safety considerations to clothing that violates cultural regulations at destination ports to common styles that cruise companies now consider too informal. Understanding this information is essential before packing any luggage. Missing just one regulation could leave you as the traveler abandoned at the pier, observing your vessel and dream holiday departing without you. Continue reading as I expose the 15 clothing choices that can halt your journey in 2025. Number 12 will astonish even seasoned cruise travelers. Let's examine the prohibited travel clothing options. Number 1. Swimming attire and beach clothing during boarding. This extends beyond simply avoiding swimsuits at dinner service. Cruise companies now strictly enforce regulations against beach-specific garments like wraps, sleeveless tops, or swim shorts in enclosed common areas, including during embarkation. This represents both practical considerations and brand image management. Companies aim to establish proper conduct and respectability from the beginning. Arriving in beach attire suggests disregard for regulations and conflicts with the premium resort atmosphere cruise lines wish to maintain. Reserve swimming clothing for pool areas or shore excursions. Always choose appropriate smart casual garments, shirts, shorts, dresses, trousers, in all indoor common spaces, particularly when boarding. A newly married couple, arriving directly from beachfront accommodations, appeared at the terminal wearing coordinated swimming attire with light mesh cover-ups and unbuttoned shirts. Despite their magazine-ready appearance, the boarding representative declined them. "Swimming attire is not permitted for boarding, even when covered," she declared decisively. They were compelled to purchase expensive basic clothing from a small terminal shop. Their elegant vacation beginning was completely ruined. Number 2. Inappropriate or divisive printed shirts. The concern extends beyond explicit language. Cruise companies are broadening their inappropriate content policies to encompass graphics that are divisive, culturally offensive, or might disturb fellow passengers, regardless of explicit wording. In today's heightened social awareness environment, cruise lines desperately want to prevent incidents that could result in public criticism. Shirts featuring political messages, potentially offensive humor, or imagery that could be misunderstood now represent liability before boarding begins. Their objective is creating a universally comfortable environment. When uncertain, avoid it. Choose plain shirts, understated designs, or clearly harmless graphics. If you must question whether clothing might offend others, it's not worth risking boarding denial. I observed a young man filled with anticipation rejected for boarding because his shirt portrayed a controversial historical figure mockingly. He protested about free expression rights, but cruise representatives simply referenced his boarding contract's terms. His companion was devastated. They sent him home while she traveled alone. A vacation destroyed over a garment. Number 3. Shirtless or shoeless boarding attempts. Though seemingly apparent, surprisingly many travelers try boarding without shirts or appropriate footwear. Cruise companies are intensifying enforcement of this fundamental conduct rule and will readily refuse entry. This addresses basic health, safety, and propriety concerns. Bare feet can transmit germs and risk injury, while exposed torsos are deemed inappropriate for indoor public spaces, even in tropical climates. Cruise lines now monitor this rule more carefully at terminals. Always wear shirts and shoes when boarding vessels. Even arriving from nearby beaches, have covering and sandals available. It's straightforward but absolutely required. I witnessed college students, enthusiastic and intoxicated from pre-cruise celebrations, attempting to board shoeless. They were halted at the gangway. One, clearly irritated, declared, "But we're vacationing." This made no impact. They returned to retrieve footwear from their vehicle. A stressful and humiliating trip began. Number 4. Identity-concealing accessories. While small masks might suit formal masquerade events, anything hiding your face, including oversized sunglasses or elaborate face makeup, is typically forbidden during embarkation. This represents major security and safety concerns. Cruise companies must easily identify all boarding individuals. Face-concealing items can trigger security alerts. This also relates to maintaining sophisticated standards. Reserve complete costume masks and detailed face painting for Halloween cruises or specific themed occasions where explicitly allowed. For regular wear, use standard makeup and accessories. A friend group, all wearing elaborate face painting for pre-cruise Mardi Gras celebrations, was detained at the boarding queue. Security politely but firmly requested face paint removal. "This is a security procedure, ma'am," they explained. The embarrassed and frustrated group had to cleanse their faces in public restrooms. Their dramatic entrance became quite underwhelming. Number 5. Spike or stud-adorned clothing. Though stylish on shore, garments or accessories featuring large metal spikes, studs, or chains now trigger security detection systems and can result in boarding rejection. This concerns security and safety protocols. Spiked or studded items could serve as weapons and might damage other passengers or ship furnishings. Cruise companies now enforce this rule more strictly. Avoid garments or accessories with prominent metal spikes, studs, or chains. If carrying bags with metal decorations, ensure they're in checked baggage. I recall a teenager eager to display her new studded leather jacket being stopped at security screening. The scanner activated and security personnel politely requested jacket removal. They explained that spikes posed security risks. She felt deeply embarrassed and her jacket was held until cruise completion. Number 6. Extremely torn or distressed garments. While trendy on land, severely damaged jeans, shirts, or shorts exposing excessive skin beyond knees are increasingly considered inappropriate for embarkation and public areas. Cruise companies are enhancing their brand perception and maintaining specific conduct standards, even for casual wear. They want to project upscale travel imagery, and heavily distressed clothing often contradicts that appearance. This involves maintaining family-appropriate and respectable environments. Minor tasteful tears on jeans might still be acceptable, but anything appearing barely intact or exposing large skin areas should remain packed for port visits only. Choose clean, well-maintained casual wear for boarding and ship activities. A friend group in designer torn jeans and band shirts attempted boarding, appearing concert-ready. Cruise staff stopped them, explaining their attire was too informal and revealing. They were completely puzzled. After frantically purchasing conservative pants from an airport store, they finally boarded. However, their initial excitement was overshadowed by stress and embarrassment. Number 7. Exposed undergarments or nightwear in common areas. Forget walking to dining areas in pajamas or having underwear visible. Cruise companies actively enforce no visible undergarments and no sleepwear in public policies and will readily refuse entry. This addresses basic propriety. Cruise ships are family-oriented environments expecting appropriate passenger attire. Visible underwear or sleepwear is considered disrespectful to other travelers and the overall atmosphere. Ensure clothing provides adequate coverage. Keep pajamas in your cabin. When venturing out, even briefly for coffee, wear proper clothing. A passenger, obviously still drowsy, entered the main dining room for breakfast wearing a silk robe over what was clearly nightwear. Before reaching the coffee area, a courteous but firm maitre d' intercepted him. "Sir, sleepwear is not allowed in the dining room." The mortified man quickly retreated, his face crimson. Number 8. Men's sleeveless shirts at dinner. This isn't novel, but enforcement is strengthening. Many cruise companies strictly forbid men from wearing tank tops, sleeveless shirts, or very casual t-shirts in main dining rooms, specialty restaurants, and evening lounges. This represents traditional smart casual evening wear expectations. It concerns presenting a refined appearance. Collared shirts or smart button-downs are typically expected. Men should pack collared shirts, polo or button-down styles, for dinner. If preferring nice t-shirts, verify specific cruise line policies, though collared shirts are always safer for evening dining. Young men arriving from fitness activities headed to dinner in athletic tank tops. They were stopped at the dining room entrance and politely informed about dress codes. One, visibly frustrated, protested, "But these are expensive designer tanks." This was irrelevant. They ended up at the casual buffet, complaining about unreasonable regulations. Number 9. Overly informal footwear. While pool-appropriate, flip-flops, Crocs, and worn athletic shoes are increasingly restricted from indoor dining venues, specialty restaurants, and some evening entertainment areas. This represents classic smart casual interpretation. Appropriate footwear demonstrates venue and occasion respect. Beyond appearance, some footwear creates noise or tracks debris, affecting other passengers' experiences. Pack diverse shoe options. Elegant sandals, loafers, boat shoes, or dress shoes suit evening wear. Restrict flip-flops to pool decks, cabins, or very casual shore excursions. I observed an impeccably dressed couple for a formal night being refused the main dining room entry because the husband wore pristine white athletic shoes. He genuinely didn't understand they were inappropriate. They returned to their cabin to change his footwear, missing their reservation time. Their visible frustration was evident. Number 10. Transparent or mesh clothing without adequate underlayers. Runway trends can be cruise ship restrictions. Sheer tops, dresses, or pants revealing excessive skin or undergarments without proper lining or layers are increasingly flagged. This falls under general modesty and respect expectations in family-oriented settings. Cruise companies want to prevent anything potentially inappropriate or overly provocative. If planning sheer items, ensure adequate layering or lining. Always prioritize coverage caution, especially in evening or indoor public spaces. A woman in a stunning but quite transparent lace dress was prevented from entering the evening theater. She genuinely hadn't realized its transparency under bright lighting. She returned to her cabin, humiliated, to find alternative clothing, missing her anticipated show's beginning. Number 11. Costume clothing outside designated events. While themed evenings like 80s parties or pirate nights are enjoyable, wearing complete costumes outside designated event periods, especially during embarkation or at informal venues, can create problems. Context matters. Cruise companies want ships feeling like elegant resorts, not continuous costume celebrations. Wearing full pirate costumes to dinner on non-themed evenings or while boarding indicates misunderstanding of the ship's general atmosphere. Enjoy themed nights but change to appropriate attire before and after. Save complete mermaid tails or superhero capes for specific Lido deck events, not main dining rooms. Friends decided to begin their vacation early, boarding in complete Hawaiian luau attire, leis, grass skirts, everything. They were refused despite arguing it was celebratory. Boarding staff explained that full costumes were only permitted during designated on-board events, not for embarkation. They frantically changed into regular clothing in bathroom stalls. Their celebratory spirit was completely dampened. Number 12. Location-specific restrictions. Caribbean camouflage prohibition. In numerous Caribbean and African countries, civilians are legally prohibited from wearing camouflage clothing. You could face fines or arrest simply for wearing camouflage shorts. This represents a shocking and hazardous regulation many cruisers don't know. The law stems from historical political conflicts and prevents civilians from mimicking military personnel. This isn't a cruise company rule but rather port legislation they must enforce. Research destination port laws before cruising. When uncertain, leave camouflage home. The risk isn't worthwhile. A passenger, a retired military veteran, was detained by Bahamian port security for wearing camouflage shorts. He was completely surprised and confused. The security officer explained the regulation and he was required to return to the ship and change. This created a stressful and embarrassing situation for him. Number 13. Crew uniform resemblance. Wearing clothing too similar to cruise ship crew uniforms, specific colors, styles, or epaulets, can, in rare but serious instances, lead to questioning or boarding denial. This represents security and safety concerns. Cruise companies must clearly differentiate between crew and passengers for identification, emergency procedures, and confusion prevention. Crew impersonation, even unintentional, is strictly forbidden. Avoid plain white-collared shirts with dark trousers that could be mistaken for basic crew attire. If owning uniform-style clothing for hobbies, ensure clear distinguishing characteristics. A retired naval officer, proud of his crisp white uniform shirt with subtle shoulder decorations, considered it perfect for smart casual wear. During boarding attempts, a security officer stopped him. "Sir, we respect your service, but cannot allow boarding in attire resembling our crew uniforms." The officer was astounded. He returned to his vehicle to change, facing delays. All because his well-meaning outfit created security concerns. Number 14. Culturally or religiously insensitive clothing. Beyond merely offensive content, cruise companies increasingly scrutinize clothing that might appear culturally appropriative, religiously insensitive, or disrespectful to any group. Striving to create inclusive environments for diverse passenger demographics, cruise lines are becoming more watchful about attire that could unintentionally cause offense or discomfort, even without malicious intent. Consider your choices carefully. If outfits or accessories utilize cultural symbols or styles not belonging to your heritage, question whether they could appear appropriative or disrespectful. When uncertain, select alternatives. A passenger excited about a festival-themed cruise wore traditional garments from another culture, styled inauthentically and bordering on caricature. A senior cruise official approached him discreetly, explaining that despite good intentions, it was creating passenger discomfort. He was requested to change, and the incident overshadowed his evening. Number 15. Excessively wrinkled or disheveled clothing. This concerns not just what you wear, but how you present it. Heavily creased clothes, stained items, or generally unkempt outfits can now justify venue entry denial and potentially boarding rejection. This returns to cruise companies' desire for elevated imagery. Even if items are individually acceptable, if they appear retrieved from laundry basket bottoms, they clash with expected ambience and signal carelessness. Invest in travel-friendly fabrics. Use wrinkle removal sprays or utilize ship laundry facilities or cabin sink washing techniques. Always maintain neat, presentable appearances in public areas. A man who packed minimally wore the same linen shirt repeatedly without pressing. By the final formal evening, it was completely wrinkled. He attempted main dining room entry and was politely but firmly directed to the casual buffet. "Sir, we maintain certain dress standards here," the hostess said with a gentle sigh, indicating his rumpled appearance. He felt mortified, realizing his casual approach had exceeded acceptable limits. These are the 15 surprising clothing items and outfits that could result in boarding denial or venue rejection in 2025. Regulations are evolving, and preparation is essential for stress-free cruising. Were any of these restrictions surprising to you? Do you believe cruise companies are overreaching? Share your opinions in the comments section. If this content prevented potential boarding difficulties, please like and subscribe for additional insider cruise guidance. Until our next meeting, stay safe and enjoy your cruising adventures.